work with you guys.
Hey, beer's good. Beer's good. Oh, I forgot to turn on my other lights. I got distracted. Oops.
Christmas beer, especially good.
There we go. It was good. It was tasty. Yeah.
All right, let's do a quick around the horn sound check. Go ahead, Tim.
Check one. Civitas. Purple rain.
Josh.
Hey, what's up? Check. I'm excited to be here on the DZR tonight.
That's enough. Sauce.
I'm here. Hello. La la la.
All right, now hold on. I want to hear this back. Just guys, give me a moment of quietude. All right, actually, it sounds pretty good outside of that incessant buzzing.
Alrighty.
It's my new mic, brah.
Bruh.
I'll fix it in post.
Okay,
Do it
let's
live!
seriously, I have no idea what my build was.
All right, you'll be fine. So I want to,
That's what it was.
yeah, we're going to do the skills thing. You guys saw the text. So I have one email. We'll talk a little bit about the interview that we had this week, and then we'll go from there. We'll do skills. And then we may do a bonus round. Does anybody have any bonus round conversation?
I don't know.
Not really.
Nothing interesting? Okay, no
Hey,
bonus.
there's another encouragement coming out in a few weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
That's-
not going to build
That's
any
news.
hype.
Talk about this.
Good.
No.
We couldn't talk about that. Okay, other games and movies and books and all that. Fine, but not the flyers. I get it. That's cool.
All right.
Yes, I found it. Figured out what my set was. Okay, we're good.
The one thing I don't
That's
know,
better.
Josh, can you have a list of the weapon talents or weapon?
Yep. I have it.
You have it? Nice. Do we know what the cap is for affecting? What is it?
It depends.
Okay.
Quick question. What exactly am I contributing this week?
Each skill has a different cap number.
You're Mr. T.
Okay. I'm just here for personality. All right, I got you.
Each what, Josh?
Each skill has a different cap number. It has a hard cap of effectiveness, but then the skill power is different for each of those. So a max sticky bomb is 44,000 skill power, but a max pulse is 57,000. So it's all different. But
Okay.
each skill has a effectiveness cap.
We will be looking to you to bring that knowledge to the podcast. You guys ready to go?
Yeah. Let's do
Hey,
this.
if you're out there on YouTube watching, you've just witnessed our entire show prep for the week.
Wait, we're live? It's not showing me that it's live.
Oh, we're live.
Yeah, we're
All right.
doing it live. If you're on YouTube, thanks for watching. Guy that always wants to shout out. This is your shout out. I gotta find your name.
All right, I got it. What's up, man?
He doesn't need a name. He shall be Guy.
Yes, fella.
Person. Fella.
All right, here we go.
You filler.
Welcome to DZR, episode 15 of the Dark Zone Report. I'm Dan Thrax. I'm your host for the evening. Let's see who we've got tonight. First up, Awesome Sauce. What's going on, Sauce?
I'm first today. Yay. What's up, guys? How's it going? It's been a good week.
I figured you'd like that. So you had you had an interesting and exciting event this week on your stream, did you not?
The Hamish? Are we talking about that? Yeah, I looked at my at Twitter, and I got a like from Hamish Bode.
That's a
About
big
my
deal,
stream.
man.
So I was
That's
happy about
awesome.
that. Yeah.
That's
Congratulations.
So
I have tried many times. I think I've gotten something liked from Hamish before, just not the tweets asking him to come on the show.
I think I have Josh to thank for that one. I'm sure he has more connections than I do.
Yeah, he probably does. Next up, Mr. T. What's going on, Mr. T?
Howdy, howdy. So I'm still waiting for my first like from Hamish Bodie, but still haven't gotten that yet.
And hey, there's no one on to steal your thunder.
Yeah.
F you, Graham.
So there you go. So to the extent that you'd like to say something about your beloved hockey team, this is your moment.
Yeah, just way to go Flyers. # win it for Ed.
Winifred, by the time this releases, either they will have pulled off their third win, or they will be they'll be.
It's
So-
possible, dude. They've done
And
it
Tim will be
before.
crying.
6 years ago. We'll see.
And last but certainly not least, first time to the podcast. What are we calling you, by the way?
I guess Hoagie.
Wizard sleeve. What is it again?
My PSN is Hoagie. That's Hoagie with an extra little bit of hoe in it.
Yeah, and something that
Can't have too much hoe, man.
you may pick up. Hoagie is actually my little brother.
We look so different.
Yeah, so I don't know if our voices sound the same or not. I suppose I'll hear it when I listen back to the podcast.
No.
But in any case, welcome, little brother, to
Thank you.
our podcast.
Thanks, man. I'm excited to be on.
Yeah, you should be. It's big.
By the way, I think it's Hamish Body. Hamish Body.
Hamish. I believe it's pronounced Hamish, but that's cool.
I don't know.
You guys are all wrong.
Hamish, we love you, man. Come on the show.
Yeah, if you're listening, we love you.
Come on. I think, just so everybody knows, too, that it's not just blatant nepotism, we are going to be starting tonight the first of a series of episodes where we talk a lot about the skills in the division. And Hoagie has a little bit of cred here. He's actually ranked, if you look on Division Track, he was ranked, he's been ranked as high as number 2 in the world for skill kills per hour.
Really?
So what are you at right now? Like 4 or 5, I think?
And I must say that the guy that was number 1 was obviously cheating. So I'll just take the number 1 slot.
He's hacking.
So de facto, number 1, the previous reigning champion of skill kills per hour.
I am currently sitting at number 4 with 25.63 skill kills per hour.
That's
so
where there's some jumping jacks. Let's see you do some jumping jacks, bro.
Yeah. He's sticky bombing someone basically every 2 minutes, I think, is the gist. So, yeah, and that's your other nickname. We should just go with that, the Sticky Bandit.
Hey, that's fine.
I love it. Oh, that's Home Alone, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a classic.
Took
Well, welcome
me-
to the show,
I got
man.
it.
Glad you're here.
Thanks.
And looking forward to your extensive skill power knowledge. To the episode. We've got a little bit of show news that I wanted to talk about. This is actually my second podcast-like event of the weekend. We earlier, I guess on Friday night, Golden Boy and I jumped onto I don't know what you call it, like a bridge cast or a multicast or something like that with N64 Josh from Aim Assist Gaming. So we basically it was more of a kind of just a hangout and interview kind of style, and it's basically a 2-hour show. Half of that show will be appearing on the Aim Assist Gaming podcast, and the other half we will be releasing as kind of special content. Not sure exactly when that's going to be coming out, but be looking for that. We had a great time. We talked some Division, but we talked a lot of other things. We did childhood gaming memories, all kinds of fun stuff. So, and Golden Boy was in rare form, very entertaining, as always. So check that out. What's that? When is he not? Never. But we, we're going to release that as extra content. So that won't be replacing the podcast next week, but it will be just a little extra thing for those of you that want to get to know us a little better and also meet N64 Josh. He's a really good guy, and they're doing cool things over there at Aim Assist, so we're happy to be a part of that. The other thing is, I know that we had said last week that we were going to be announcing the launch of the website this week. We are a little bit behind, still getting some things together in terms of the artwork and content, so I'm hoping that that's going to release really soon. But yeah, it's coming. We're working on it. We've got a great team of listeners, actually, folks from the listening community that are helping out with it. It's going well. We're just not quite there in terms of releasing it. The other thing, we have been seeing more and more of the listeners jumping into the Discord.
Yeah.
It's been just a lot of fun. Just been really excellent. I don't know, do we have a
I'll get numbers. We are at 191 members.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So closing in on 200, and it's funny because we've got a nice distribution. There's a bunch of guys. There's a whole crew of guys from the UK. We've got guys in Australia. So we've got a bunch of different time zones working. So you can always kind of tell. The morning the UK guys are always jumping, and it's just great. And talk about a lot of stuff related to the game. People are finding people to play with. Talk about life. Talk about all kinds
Fences.
of DIY projects. So it's really a lot of fun. There's a really cool community developing over there. And so if you're not on that yet, please jump in. It's kind of a more the merrier kind of thing. And like I said, people are actually finding people to play with, which has been great. But just the general kind of community that's developing, it's a great thing to distract you while you're supposed to be working. So join us on the Discord. You can, if you want to get there, just go to darkzonereport.com and you can kind of link right there. I think that's it in terms of show news. One other thing, we haven't released a new Rogueware design in a couple of weeks because we've been busy working on stuff for the website. But as always, if you want to support the show and you like T-shirts, DZR has a line of fan-inspired or fan art-inspired tees that is on sale at darkzonereport.com/store, and all the proceeds from that go to help support the show. So if you're into that and you want to support us that way, that would be great.
I think you should put the song back out again, Dan.
Do the what now?
Cut the song in right there. I mean, there was a spike in sales, wasn't there?
There was quite a spike.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
It's been a while. It's been a while since we put it up. Let's do it.
Yeah, I guess that's right, guys. I mean, I think there's probably a once a month or twice a month kind of quota on the jingle.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
I think it should be every podcast, but
we got some new listeners, so you know what? Let's do that. We're going to put in, this is the DZR Rogueware jingle right here.
Golden absolutely would have talked over that.
He did.
See, the problem is now when I listen back, it's going to be in my head for 3 days.
Oh, yeah, it's a good thing. It's a
3
good
days
song,
is short, man. 3 days is bad. Ugh.
I'm going to have like a nervous tick.
It's a dream.
Ear crack. That's what that is.
A week and a half. Now it's stuck in my head, and I haven't even heard it. Problem.
Oh, man. All right, guys, so let's jump into, actually, before we jump into the kind of main content for the show tonight, I do have a listener email that I wanted to read. And, of course, we love to hear from you guys. There's a couple ways to get a hold of us. One is through the Discord. That's a great and kind of direct way to get in touch with us. Another way is through our Twitter at DarkZoneReport. And then the kind of third way is through our email, which is dzrmailbag@gmail.com. I got an email this week from a guy named Rattlesnake Bite. B-Y-T-E. Very clever. I like that. Rattlesnake says, I love the podcast. Thanks, man. I like to nerd out throughout the day before I get home and wreck some LMB. Oh, excuse me. My question for the podcast is, with the new gear set scores dividing the Dark Zone, do you think this was effective in helping lower-level players get good loot in the DZ? Because all the higher-level characters from the beginning were wrecking people before the brackets. They are mostly in the 161 bracket. With the large amounts of high-end in the game after the update, it doesn't take that long to join the higher bracket, even though you are a rookie to the DZ. Has this been an issue many players have been having? How would you guys solve the issue, or does it need to be solved at all? So a couple questions in there. I'm curious what you guys think. I mean, to me, I haven't really noticed the bracketing thing. I mean, I was in the lower bracket, the sub 160 bracket when the update first launched, but I got there really quick. I mean, with the high ends all dropping at 163 and there being so many, I don't know, it happened pretty quick.
Yeah, I mean, did you even go into the Dark Zone before you hit 161?
I did. Yeah.
Yeah, I did not.
I was trying to farm, just because I knew the high ends were in there. And it's definitely, we know that they buffed all the NPCs for the 161. So, I don't know. I mean, if the issue is there's still some really good, really well-geared players going around and it's a bit of, there's kind of an uneven playing field, I think that still exists in the Dark Zone. I mean, I don't know what you guys think.
Sure.
I'd totally agree. I mean, I'll go back to what I said early on, is that they need to separate it far more. They separate it getting up to 30 much more than they have past 30. We have 2 brackets, whereas leveling up to 30 we had what, 1 to 4, 5 to 9, something like that. So I'd really like to see something a little bit more segmented. I mean, at this point, I would say a pretty good population is above 30 and would fit into those brackets. I mean, I understand that you don't want to completely separate a huge portion of the player base and like 5 guys that are at the top. You don't want those 5 guys in a server by themselves all the time. So I think they need to definitely break that up a lot more, because even once you hit that 161, granted, you have had some experience in the lower bracket, and you're a little bit more used to it. But when you're in that 161 bracket, it can get pretty insane. When I was running, I think last weekend, we had to switch servers because somebody joined the group, and we literally spawned into a group of 4 that were in manhunt. And so I ran away. Like 3 of my guys went down. I just ran away. You're on your own, guys. I'm doing this. So I just ran. But we had trouble with multiple groups. We were up in DZ 5 and 6, which is unusual because normally it was 1 and 2 where we were having trouble. So I guess that's a little bit better. But I would like to see a little bit more segmenting in that area.
Well, and how would you do it? So I think the gear score is how they've done it kind of to date. And I think at the 160 cut, I think that's kind of effective. But really what we've seen, particularly with all the glitches that were around the incursion, is that a high gear score is not at all indicative of... So it's one of those deals where if they just segmented by gear score, I think that would kind of miss what's happened, largely because of the glitching has been going on, and you got people that are 200 plus on gear score that just aren't. It was funny, we were listening to Pretzel. Pretzel Poncho's been off for 2 weeks, and just been playing the game a lot, and he was talking about some of his situations, matchmaking with folks that were 200 plus and just couldn't play the game, and so I don't know. I think that's one of those things where.
I mean, I'll admit here. I mean, I'm 183, and I'm, you played with me. I'm not very good at this game, dude. But I'm 183. I'm like, it's like Golden Pretzel and then me, and I'm not the 3rd best player in this group, man. I don't know, man. The gear score thing is kind of skewed.
Well, and one of the other things too is that you can still cheat the system. If you have a 2, do they even have 240 gear score weapons? 214, weapons. And if I have a green level 1 gun in my secondary and on my sidearm, I'm still cutting my gear score down. And so there's still things that people are doing to cheat the gear score.
Yeah, I thought you weren't be able to do that. I thought you weren't supposed to be able to do that.
No, I mean, if you don't have it in your stash or your inventory, you can still do that stuff, and so you can still fudge the numbers. And so, but also at the same time, you hear of people having 131 M1As that they pick up a high-end 183, and because the talents aren't rolling well, they're still keeping their 131, and so it's like. Gear score is still not a very good, even look at how good that gear is overall. And then there's just all sorts of weird things that people can do to cheat. And so I think I like the different bracketing systems. I wish you could decide to go up into another gear score. I was trying to run them with the Anthrax, and I'm only at 139 right now for my gear score.
He's got
and I could
Manning level internets, doesn't he?
Yeah, and
That's
so
Rochester. That's Rochester internet right there, bro.
oh, did it just cut out?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
No,
Anyway,
go ahead. Go.
I was saying I wish you could decide to move up a bracket. I was trying to run with Danthrax and Pretzel the other night, and I couldn't because I was sub 161. So I think there's some changes that they can make to make it better.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me it's not that hard in a lot of ways because there is one. I mean, and admittedly, if somebody's been gearing exclusively on the PvE side and then just jumps into PvP, this doesn't work. But largely speaking, I mean, I think Dark Zone level or Dark Zone rank might even be a good indication because once you get to a certain point, like you don't get to 75 without spending a lot of time in the Dark Zone. You know what I mean?
That's much more indicative because I'm only 42, right?
Yeah.
But my gear score is more along the lines of, the guys we're playing with are plus 75, so obviously not even close to being accurate.
So, I don't know, Rattlesnake. Before we jumped on here, a couple of us were playing. We were in the Dark Zone, and we saw rogues on the map, and we just stayed away from them. I mean, it was like one of those things where, and I've had spots playing solo. I think it's a lot worse because you're in there, you're just trying to kind of sneak through a few things and get your gear and get out, and then you just run into a pack, and it's just no good. But when you're with a group, man, you got a couple guys that can cycle the pulse. You know where people are. You have one guy that's watching the map, and you can just make decisions. Like we had a supply drop happen in the middle, and we were looking at the map, and we were like, oh, looks like the rogues are over there. We'll just go do something else. We actually went to try and extract while they were, preoccupied. So I don't know. I mean, to me, it hasn't been terrible. I think we all kind of agree that gear score as a differentiator in the Dark Zone is probably a little bit misguided, but I don't know. To me, hasn't been a huge issue.
Yeah. On the whole solo thing, I would recommend trying matchmaking. I tried that for the first time today, going into the Dark Zone. I got really lucky with the group I went in, and the server we were put onto. So we went rogue several times and couldn't get past rank 3 just because there weren't enough people. And it was fun. It is possible to find a good group for that. So I would definitely try out the matchmaking if you're starting to get frustrated as that solo player or even 2 or 3. Just pick up that extra person or 2. Maybe you'll get lucky. If you're not, just give it a try. Do what you can.
Yeah. Now, and what did you do? You just went through one of the safe houses?
Yeah, I just went to a safe house, just queued up for Dark Zone. I got match made in under 3 minutes. It was real quick. Got a group. We went straight in. Went into DZ 5 and 6. Had a good time.
I didn't know you could do that. So you go to the computer in the safe house and you can choose Dark Zone?
Yep. You can choose PvE encounters, and then you can also choose Dark Zone. So it's really nice.
Amazing.
I found a group the other last week, and I was just in an extraction point, and walked up to 2 of them and said right click on my right analog, and I had a group of 3 right there too. So.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've done that. That works generally. That's kind of been like the universal sign for I'm friendly. Right, you go up and do the invite. I mean, I haven't been using the proximity chat hardly at all. I mean, I barely kind of know it's in the game, but that sending the invite has worked pretty well for me too. I've gotten lucky a couple times. So, Snake, thanks for writing in, brother. Or was it Rattlesnake? No, Rattlesnake Bite. Thanks for writing in. Good luck, man. Good luck in the Dark Zone. And anybody else that wants to write in, we would love to hear from you. dzrmailbag@gmail.com. All right, guys, let's get into the main topic of the night. Now, we have been talking back and forth. One of the things that happens as a game kind of matures and you're doing a weekly podcast is you have to think about what kind of content you're going to put out. We try and do a pretty good mix on the show of kind of entertaining, some opinion reaction stuff. We try and bring you some info on builds and things like that to kind of some more technical things to kind of help you play. But one of the things we want to do here, kind of coming up for the next, it'll be at least a month, is essentially really looking at the skills. I think the skills are one of those things where some people have taken the time to go and explore and do a bunch of different stuff, but for a lot of people, I think they've kind of locked into the one or two that they use, and that's kind of what they just roll with on a consistent basis. And what we're hoping to do is, first, we're going to talk today just about skill power and skills in general. And so this is going to be mostly about how do you get the most out of a skill powered build, how do you get the most out of your skills in general. And then what we're going to do going forward is actually take a pretty detailed look walking through. I'm not sure if we'll do it by wing or if we'll kind of just break up and take a few per show, but really kind of looking in at the skills and some things that you might not always use, and trying to find some kind of nuggets in there for those of you that are playing that you can try out and maybe just change up your loadout a bit and get a little bit of experience. But today we are going to start just in general speaking about skills. So there's a couple things to keep in mind, and again, the focus of this show is going to be essentially talking about how do you maximize the effectiveness of your skills, whatever it is, whatever skills you're rolling with, how do you kind of maximize your effectiveness with the skills? And so I think we start at the beginning here. So first of all, we all know there's 3 attributes, right? You got your firearms, you got your stamina, you got your electronics, and by now, hopefully we all know that the electronics attribute is the one most directly related to your skill, to your skills. Now, the way it works, it's interesting. If you look at the kind of analog I like to draw is if you look at armor and stamina and your kind of overall ability to resist damage. And in some degree, it works in terms of the firearms as well, but the way the division kind of looks at its stats is essentially you have these base stats, you have these base numbers, and then you have essentially a multiplier, right? So when you look at your electronics number, right, what's essentially going on behind the scenes in the math is that you're getting this multiplier effect. There's a formula happening. And so I think the most basic way to kind of improve your skills and both the kind of cooldown time and the efficiency and the power of the skills is just to run high electronics gear. Are any of you guys kind of running an electronics heavy build at the moment?
Myself, I'm a fresh-ish 30, and so I just hit 30 last week. My firearms are at like 998, and I'm still putting out 89,000 DPS with my tactical ACR, which is not bad. But then my skill power I think is 2,800, which is producing about 34,000 skill power for me.
Yeah, so that's a big number. I don't know, Saws, where are you? I just checked before jumping on. My skill power was only running at like 14 to 16. I have some gear, 1,000. I mean, I have some gear that I can put on that'll get me over 20, but it just totally guts my stamina, which causes a problem. But so that's kind of where I am. I've been trying to focus a little more on that type of build. But Saws, where's your build at right now? I mean, are you still mostly DPS or where are you?
Right now, I'm at a very balanced, just based on kind of I was forced into it. I crafted a custom M44 with Ferocious on it, which is by far my favorite weapons skill right now, which is the increased damage to elite enemies. So I love being able to shred through those guys. So in order to activate that on the sniper, I've had to go pretty balanced. And in the Dark Zone, it's been pretty effective in PvE. I mean, you have enough stamina, you're able to heal yourself. It's actually going pretty well right now. I'm liking it. You still feel a little bit squishy, unfortunately, but I mean that's just the nature of going away from stamina a little bit more. So yeah, I'm just balanced. It's working well for me. But yeah, you do miss out on some skill power opportunities where you could fully heal yourself or do more damage with your sticky or whatever you're doing.
Yeah. How about you, Mr. T?
I don't know the exact number on my skill electronics. I think I'm gonna say like 16 to 18. I'm going for more armor, health, kind of a mitigation thing, just so I can survive stuff. 'Cause I'm
The
not good.
survivability build.
I just
Yeah.
want to survive. I don't want to be the guy that dies. So that's what I'm. And I don't know the numbers. I should have looked before we got on the game, or on the cast. But yeah, I haven't worried about that. The thing is, with my secondary character, I'm paying more attention to that kind of stuff. So, and I'm only like a level 10 right now. So, but my main character, the thing I play with you guys, it's all just armor and health.
Yep. No, and it's interesting. So if we think about exactly how that, we just threw out a bunch of numbers, but in terms of how that actually is affecting the way the skills behave. I mean, I'll tell you the one that I notice the most is the heal. I will typically run with the doctor gun, as we call it, and for a number of reasons. For one, I do like being able to kind of heal teammates on demand, but also survivability is a big thing for me too, Mr. T, because I've been finding that my character is just squishier than I want to be, and you get into these tough encounters. I only have 5 med kits, and the ability to kind of heal myself is something I use a lot. And it's the difference between even going from like a 12,000 skill power to a 16 in terms of how that healing responds. I mean, it's a difference between getting a bar back when you use that ability and essentially filling yourself up completely. I mean, it's really it's night and day. Hogue, I know you're a big sticky bomb user, right? I mean, what else are you using in terms of skills?
I've been sticky bomb from the very beginning, and I was using actually turret a lot as I was leveling up because I did a lot of solo, and so I would throw my turret out and it would suppress the group, and I would kill everybody, and I'd be fine. Now that I've hit 30, I'm using a few different things. I was running with some Chinese guys on General Assembly last night, and so I had first aid on. I was running with Seeker Mines the other night just because I like explosions. So I'm really trying to figure out what I like. Actually, I was just looking at some numbers, and I think I want to try out as a group. I want to try out the Smart Cover. I haven't used it because I haven't been running tons of groups, but maxed out, that does helps 50% more damage and 75% damage mitigation on yourself, and I'm just like, that's a crazy number. So I think that's an area I'm going to move forward in. I've never really used a ballistic shield. I never used I used support station a little bit. Mobile cover never. So I was really involved in using those offensive skills. Right now, my BFB is sitting at 200k for the base level damage, and that doesn't even include any of the talents attached to it.
Yeah. So talk about the difference between so with the sticky bomb in particular. Like, I mean, you said you're running, around 30,000 skill power? Is that what you said?
33, 34, right around there.
Yeah. And do you have a feel for kind of what the max on the skill power is? I mean, like, does that thing cap out and curve, kind of hit the maximum kind of efficient use at some point?
It does. Each skill has its own cap. Now, it doesn't cap skill power, but it caps the effectiveness of that skill. So Sticky Bomb's max damage, even with BFB, is 250k damage. Now, if you add the chain reaction talent, you can get it up to about 340, 350. Mm-hmm. And so that could be across, if I hit a group of 3 guys, they can each have 350 damage to them right away. But the hard cap on the base damage of the BFB is 250k. And that's at 44,000 skill power.
At 44.
Yeah.
Okay, so it takes 44,000 essentially to max out the sticky bomb. I guess in terms of um, some of the other skills, you said the numbers are different. You do have a couple numbers on some of the other skills, correct?
Yeah, I do. Shout out to I'm one of those guys that's on Discord and Reddit all the time, and so Alcazone89 put up a post a few last week about, and it talks about all the hard caps, and basically they went and data mined the information and pulled out all the numbers, and so I have all the numbers in front of me of the hard caps on the effectiveness, and then also the skill number. So the usual skill number cap that you need for max effectiveness is somewhere in the 45 to 60,000 range. Now some of them are the scrambler pulse or the pulse scrambler is 134,000 skill power to have the cap. It's just like no one's going to do that though, and so. Yeah, I mean there are some that are the booster shot for self heal is 90,000. There's some in the 70s, but most of them are in the 45 to 60,000 range for skill power.
Got it. Yeah,
for
and
max effectiveness.
We'll take that link and we will put that in the show notes for everybody so you can check it out. Because, it's one of those things where you don't even think about it. I mean, unless you see a link like that, you just think, oh, okay, well, maybe it's 40, maybe it's one number. I had never actually, until we talked about this before the show, thought about the fact that might be different for different skills. So if you are, really focused on a singular skill in your build and you want to get the most out of it, then, kind of knowing what you need to be targeting could save you from dumping a bunch of stuff in skill power that could be better somewhere.
Absolutely. I mean, the worst case scenario is what you end up using crafting material, or you find a new vest or something, and you dump a high-end mask that you actually wanted because you're trying to make decisions not based on what's actually going to happen, but what you feel like is going to happen. So.
Yeah. But generally speaking, for most, 45 is getting to kind of max level, it seems, except for a few particular skills.
Actually, 45 is the lower end on most of them. If you hit the 55 or 60, you're maxing out on most of them. There's only a few that go beyond that.
Yeah. So that's now. So in addition to kind of just getting gear that it has the skill power stuff attached to it, there's another couple of levels, right? And now we're going to get into talking about how talents affect what you're doing on the skill side. So, the base kind of level of this whole thing is gear, right? You get a piece of gear, you look at it, it's going to have some mix of those three attributes, and or maybe just one attribute, right? And that's the base. But then there's also these talents that can kind of impact how your skills are kind of responding and acting in the game. So I want to go through a couple of those right now. I mean, one of the ones, has anybody used triage?
Which one is that?
What? Who?
I'm so bad at that.
Yeah, I'm like,
That's that.
So triage, I actually came across this. I had seen it when I was looking through the skills, but I actually came across it in Eric's put out a video about this kind of I forget what he called it. It was like infinite sticky bomb build or something like that. And basically what triage does is it gives you back it basically speeds your skills cooldown when you heal another player.
Mm-hmm.
And so what he was doing was essentially they were rocking 4 deep going into challenge modes and things like that. And they were all running this triage, which meant, and the interesting thing about it is that it stacks, so that if you heal 2 other guys, you get double the bonus, or 3 guys, you essentially can almost completely refill your skill. You can almost totally bypass your skill cooldown. So triage, yeah, pretty cool. It's one that takes coordination, right? I mean, you have to have the other guys nearby to heal them,
right.
But it's a really interesting way to kind of keep a high amount of uptime on your your skills. So I've yet to try it. I was thinking actually we're going to be running an incursion after this, and I was thinking about trying to get us all to try it. But again, one of those ones you don't really think about much. Doesn't seem super sexy, but then when you actually get it into a scenario where you're healing 4 guys and you're able to stack, it's pretty powerful. Any other? So there's 2 ways to look at this, and we'll look at this more as we kind of go through talking about different things. There are a number of talents, and Hogue, you mentioned a few of them that are really specific to specific skills. So, like the sticky bomb's got the explosion radius stuff, or the explosion chaining stuff, and there's some other ones that do. But there's also some talents that are just kind of generally good, I think, for skills. Are there any other ones that you guys kind of look at when you think about skills builds and kind of maximizing your skills potential?
I'm sorry, what was the question?
Any other?
I don't even know.
There's a lot, Dan. There's a lot. There's a lot that have different effects on your skill, like kill a hostile while any skill is deployed to extend any active skill duration by 10%. That's tech support. And so triage is the one that has the most effect, probably. But then there's, I highlighted probably 10 other ones that have, if you're running a chain, if you're running a skill build that affect how your skills are running or how they're affecting the, the enemy.
Yeah, so let's talk about tech support really quick, because that's one of the ones that I wanted to make sure we talked about. Tech support to me is really going to be geared around, well, the tech, a lot of the tech wing stuff. But I think if you're running Pulse, for instance, tech support is a great fit on kind of the talent side, because that is a skill where you're going to kill a lot of guys when the skill is active, right? Something like smart cover or ballistic shield or mobile cover, right? All those things where they are, you've got a sustained killing period is going to kind of work fairly well with tech support. I don't know that something like sticky bomb.
No.
I would say that turret is definitely my favorite with that one. I mean,
the shock turret.
Yeah, when you have that up, you're able to keep that up for a very long time. My thing with Pulse is that once you use the Pulse, at least as far as I've seen and paid attention to, I haven't really paid too closely attention, but when you use your Pulse, it pulses the people that are around, and when you kill, it just extends the Pulse on those guys. It doesn't apply Pulse to anybody else. So I would say that Pulse isn't exactly the best for it. It's kind of in the mid-range there between the useless and super useful. So I really use it with turret a lot. I like having that up for a long time. As long as that health stays up, then I'm real good with that one.
Yeah, I found that out the other day, Sauce. Pulse actually marks the enemies. It doesn't affect you, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. So if you clear them all out, your Pulse is effectively done.
Yeah, once they're dead, that Pulse is useless. They can keep spawning more guys, but those spawn guys aren't going to be pulsed. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I find it one of the reasons.
What the hell? That's messed up, man. I use Pulse all the time.
No, I love Pulse.
You.
And one of the reasons
Not anymore.
With Pulse is that when you get into scenarios with higher end enemies where you've got a lot of them, challenge, for instance, you've got a lot of them, they take longer to kill, right? And so it's not like, you run Pulse on one wave of spawns in hard mode on just a mission, right? You're through those guys almost instantaneously. Yeah. And so you don't get this you don't run into a situation where your Pulse could run out with the same wave of enemies. I find that I get into those spots in challenging modes and things like that where you actually would get a benefit from having your Pulse extend because the benefits of Pulse, particularly if you're running with a a sniper rifle that you have modified to have a lot of crit chance or crit damage, and certainly with any kind of submachine gun build, Pulse is a really great, really great talent. Mr. T, you were saying you run Pulse. What do you run? You run Pulse and
support station.
Oh, support station. Okay, yeah.
I'm all about healing and staying alive.
I want to see too if triage. I'm assuming triage works with the support station as well. I haven't actually tested it, but I'm assuming
it works with all talents. Are you saying triage or the tech support?
Yeah, no, triage.
Yeah, it's all cooldowns.
Yeah, so so if we are talking about tech support, any of these kind of, healing station's another one of those ones that we didn't mention. I was thinking like smart cover and mobile cover and stuff, but you put down a healing station, you kill some guys, tech support's gonna help you out. Again,
yeah,
good point from Hoagie. Like if you're in encounters where you're burning through the spawn waves quickly, maybe not the best choice. But if you're in situations where go ahead.
I'm sorry, those healing stations actually have max amount of heal that they can do too. So it's not like if you have wave after wave after wave guys coming, it's not like that's going to last forever. It actually heals you to a certain amount, whatever, I forget what the number is, but then it's kaput. So that's not something that can last forever, unlike a smart cover, which is never going to age. That's going to last forever.
Okay. I had no idea about that. That's interesting.
Yeah, I don't like Hoagie. Let's not have him on it. Destroying everything I know.
He keeps talking about truth. I don't like it. I don't like it. Tell me lies. Tell me lies.
The thing is, I only get to play like 9 or 10 hours a week, so I put like more than double that time into studying. So when I'm on there, I actually know what the crap I'm doing.
Yeah, sitting
that's funny because I probably play 20 to 30 hours a week and don't do any prep time, and I don't know what I'm doing. We're very what's that, Mutton Tom? Not Mutton Tom. What am I? Frickin' Frack?
Ebony and Ivory?
If there was a Prince. If there was only a Prince correlation there, that would have been perfect. But I can't think of it, so never mind.
Other talents that correspond to. There was one more that I wanted to highlight. Why can't I find it? I love post-processing for just this reason.
Oh, yeah.
Boy, Prince was a legend, and he may be one of the best guitarists that ever lived. Just want to put that out there. And the fact that he's gone at 57 is ridiculous.
This could have been the bonus round, man. We could do Prince for the bonus round.
Hey, what about China?
We could do
from WWE, man.
Yeah, nobody cares about that but you and Cowboy Doug.
Carter's recoil. Going damage. Multiple
I just saw it. I think the cap on the smart cover or support station is 75k health, so it can heal up to that amount.
That's interesting.
At the max of 5,000 health per second.
Destroy a hostile's deployed skill to increase skill power by 20%.
Yeah, I saw that one too. I thought that was really interesting, except that LMB is the only one that uses...
Yeah, and you don't see that quite as often.
Yeah, unless you're kicking turrets all the time.
Not true, actually. So we were...
Really?
Yeah.
The
Hudson
cleaners.
Yeah, the cleaners.
Yeah, the cleaners.
Use turrets.
The technician guy. Annoys the hell out of me.
Well, I'm sorry, I'm wrong.
Yeah, but you should do a little more research instead of just playing the game all the time.
What a loser I am.
No, I think there was one. So that was what I looked at. Saw as very, again, kind of a very specific kind of build. I mean, I think if we, to the extent that we get into situations where it's just, turret after turret. The one thing I will say, certainly LMB is the group that's predominantly related to. I'm not sure if that. I wonder if that procs with hacked tech. That was one of the things that always bugged me about the LMB. You put up a turret or you send out a seeker mine and they hack it and send it back to you. I'm not sure if killing your own that's been hacked would proc that, but anyway.
When can we have that skill? I'd like that skill. That annoys me to no end. I was running that final mission, the Russian consulate, and I throw out a turret, and I'm just being shot, and I'm like, what is shooting me? And then I realized that my turret was hacked, and then I died.
Hey, you should have been first wave, buddy.
Yep. My fault. My bad, guys.
The other talent that is going to actually improve your skills, critical save is the name of it. I knew I was looking for it. No, not critical save, sorry, strike back, which essentially is that low health will grant a bonus to your skill cooldown rate. So that's one that I have used in the past, particularly for healing, because I find myself at low health on occasion, at least, and having your kind of heal speed up in your moment of need is kind of a nice thing. There are some other, I've seen some stuff with players that like to kind of play in that 1 bar to 2 bar health zone because there's some other gear talents that will actually increase your damage when you get there and things like that. So that's kind of an interesting thing. For me, if I'm using Strike Back, it's mainly just insurance. It's, I want to get my heal up quicker if I happen to get damaged. So I think those are the ones in terms of the talents on that you can select on your character. To me, those are the ones that really kind of are going to be most impactful on how you run with your skills. Now, there are a whole list of gear talents, though. Well, not gear talents, so weapon talents that do have an interesting impact on your skill power. Hoagie, I'm sure you're prepared with some kind of a list on that. What do you guys have in terms of weapon talents that impact your skills?
I mean, probably the most famous one is Cool-Headed, which is skill cooldowns are reduced whenever a player executes a headshot of a certain percent. And so I think on the Caduceus, it's 5.5% or something along that lines. And so that's probably the most famous one. I probably just butchered that name.
Yeah, Caduceus. That's how I say it too, Caduceus. There's a couple others. So Cool-Headed is that's one. I actually don't have that on any of my weapons. I've been kind of chasing it. Like I thought about that, but I haven't seen it roll kind of out there in the wild. But there are a couple others. There's a talent called Talented, which essentially doesn't play on your skill cooldown or on your cooldown, but it's actually
very creative, Hamish.
Yeah, nice work. And that one, essentially, if you kill a target with a weapon that has this, it actually increases your skill power by 8% for 13 seconds, which is kind of cool. So it's actually just a straight buff to your skill power. It's not going to make it cool down faster, but it's going to increase the kind of efficiency of that skill when you actually use it. And it's just tied to kills, which is kind of cool, right? If you're terrible at headshots...
Hey, what talent is this?
Just
sounds like for me.
Called Talented. I've always said that you're a man of very special talents, Mr. T. I think this might be the one for you. But yeah, so that one's...
Unfortunately, none of those work well in the division.
There's a couple other, too. There's one called Determined, which I actually have seen on a roll, which is essentially that killing a target reduces skill cooldowns by 9%.
The new high-end named SMG has that. Is it Valkyria?
No, I think it's Valkyrie.
Yeah,
Valkyrie. Whatever.
You're not the first person to say Valkyrie.
What am I drinking tonight?
I don't know, but you're not the only one that said that. It's Jesus, man. It's obviously Valkyrie.
I know. Somebody. I heard it on YouTube. I blame them.
Valkyrie? Is that it? Valkyrie?
How does Hamish Bodie say it?
That's Raj.
Yes, Raj.
Favorite.
Platon.
Rajay Platon.
So that's an interesting one, and again, you can kind of see how how you can kind of get these things to kind of work together, right? With like some of the talents that we already mentioned. Here's another one that's kind of geared around kills. Now, so another one. All right, so that was Determined, and again, these guys can roll kind of different ways. I mean, there's also a talent that I've seen a lot called Dominant, which basically every kill performed while your signature skill is active reduces the cooldown of your other skills by 8.5%. I don't love this one just because, I don't know, guys, to me, the signature skills are like such a small piece of this game. They're so short. They take so long to build up. It's like, I don't know.
A personal problem there, Danthrax.
Yeah.
Hang on. I mean, Dan, how much have you run the incursion? Because they're pretty important in the incursion.
I haven't run the incursion much at all. I'm hoping to do it after this podcast.
I mean, with the incursion, it's great that you use it, but the problem is that the cooldown on it is long enough.
Oh,
that
it's 6 minutes.
Yeah, you're not.
Minutes?
Yeah, it's hard capped. It's hard capped at 6 minutes for cooldowns. On the base value is 900 seconds, which whatever that is.
Math.
Yeah.
How many minutes is 900 seconds? Let's do. I got a calculator right here.
What 900 seconds would be a minute or 15 minutes, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So that's 6 minutes. Is if you have essentially got geared to
43,000.
Right.
Skill power.
Having your signature.
Yeah, and then consider how long that special lasts. You're not. It's not useful enough, in my opinion, especially to take up a perk for that long. I don't see the value in trying to run something like that.
If you do the health one or the shield one, and it's for when I don't know how you guys are running the incursion, but we're going straight into the pit, and that's where we hung out. I'm pretty sure that's how everybody does it. And one guy pops it for when the shotguns come in, and then when the shotguns drop into the pit with you, that's when you pop it so that you don't get obliterated by these guys. And then, somebody else runs it with the next wave the next time the shotguns come in on the wave. So, I mean, it's useful in that sense. And I've used it a couple times, even tonight, with the res. I res you guys from afar.
That was
minutes.
I like that. I like that.
Yeah, but I couldn't do it for 6 more minutes, apparently. 6 minutes.
This talent is one of those ones that you get and you're like, oh, okay, this will work sometimes, but it's not one that you get and you're like, oh my gosh, I've been waiting for this talent.
Yeah, very true. Very true.
It's one of those lower tier things that you're like, I wish I had.
I mean, I don't use it because it's one of those things where I don't use it because I know, and I didn't know it was 6 minutes, but I knew it took forever, so I hold on to it because it's a treasure. I'm like, don't want to use it, don't want to use it, don't want to use it. Okay, I got to use it, and by the time, then I'm dead and I can't use it. So
yeah.
Well, I think to be clear that 6 minutes is with 45,000 skill power. For most of us, it's taking anywhere between 13 and 15, 12 to 15 minutes for that thing to.
Yeah.
That's insane, dude. That's broken.
That's
dumb.
And
15 minutes?
Just so we know, Survivor Link lasts 15 seconds, Tac Link lasts 12 seconds, and obviously you have the recovery one. Yeah. So that's at max. You're waiting 6 minutes for 15 seconds of Survivor Link.
Yeah, and I think that's really what those, just talking about it in those terms kind of highlights what those things are for. I mean, that is, for me, like Survivor Link, man, that is, I use it two places. One, if I'm running somewhere and I'm getting tired of running, and I just need that speed boost. I need that 15 running faster. It's like my turbo boost. It's like the Mario mushroom, or but
no, the star. Come on, man.
Well, no, I was thinking Mario Kart.
Mushroom.
Right. Mushroom, you go faster. In any case, but or it's the absolute get out of jail free card. Everyone else is dead, and you're just trying to get to cover, or it's an emergency only kind of thing. So it's not a real big part of my experience. So I guess the point of all that is to say, in terms of weapon talents, something that's relying on your signature skill, I just
yeah,
it's not even worth having. It's not even worth taking the spot.
Yeah.
But,
well, I'm curious as to, I don't know whether or not this works, but does it play off of someone else's skill? Because if it did, then that would make it worth it. But I don't know if that's the case. Because if you're pulling those 4 specials on a pretty frequent occasion, I mean, I guess it would be useful then. I don't know.
it says you, so unless that's, I mean, this I pulled it off of not the massive website, so it could be different, but hopefully, I'm guessing it's probably your.
Yeah, this is wild speculation on my part. I have no facts or
It's a great
numbers.
idea.
It's just
how
my
it should be.
brain. My brain has made up ideas, so I'm saying them out loud now.
Well, there's your problem right there, man.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry
Mute
for
his
thinking.
microphone. Mute his microphone.
The previous comments do not reflect the views or opinions of DZ. Reflect only those of Awesome Sauce.
Yeah.
No, I think, it's even with, I mean, if you think about it, even with, like, let's say you had 4 guys all spec to 45,000 in skill power, and so they were getting that 6 minute. You're still, I mean, reducing your cooldown. You still in that time period even if you level those out, you're almost equal to what you would be just letting your skill. If you're at that skill level, that's what your cooldown's going to be anyway. You know what I mean? So it's kind of one of these like, I don't know. I don't see the benefit. But I think those are the main ones. So if you're looking to run a skill build, those are the weapon talents that if you see them, definitely think about using them. So the last kind of area that we want to talk about in terms of things to look at when you're improving your skill, or if you're looking to run a skills-based build. Hoagie, do you have that chart that actually I think Dado put out about what stats can roll on what gear?
Yeah. Give me 1 second.
Yeah, so we'll talk about that in just a second. And I guess the point is that the kind of last kind of piece to the puzzle for a skill build is essentially these kind of substats that you can get on your gear. Now, there's a number of ways to look at it. There's some talents on the gear itself that will, like I have it on a couple pieces of my gear where it'll actually take a percentage of my firearms and stamina and just add it to my skill power, which is cool. But then there's also like I guess for me the big ones in terms of those substats, unless you're getting into specific skills, right, is skill haste, which I guess is the thing that we haven't really talked about yet, but is another kind of important part. Skill haste is essentially a stat that reduces your cooldown. I mean, pretty simple, but that's what it does. And so if you're looking to be in a situation where you're where you are where you're using your skills on a regular basis and you're wanting to get maximum uptime, looking for skill haste in your gear set, I mean, that's one of the things that will affect all of your skills. Now, if you're just primarily a pulse user or a support station user or a sticky bomb user, obviously there are stats associated with each one of those skills that you can find on gear. But I think the only one that is cross all the skills is either just the straight skill power boosts, or like I said, that talent where it takes a percentage and applies it to skill power, or there is skill haste. Hoagie, do you have kind of what pieces can roll skill haste?
I do. Skill power can be rolled on masks and backpack, and skill haste can be rolled on backpacks and holsters. And then obviously you have mod slots that can have those on there too. And I will say too, before we move off of this, is that as far as cooldowns, the lowest your cooldown can get on the majority of your skills is 20 seconds. So if you're sitting at 22 seconds, just be warned that you're probably not going to go any lower than 20.
Yeah, now 20 seconds, that is a skill cooldown period that I could get behind, man. I mean, that's awesome. That's ridiculously short, particularly if you are using one of these damage, one of these kind of assault-oriented or kind of offensive-oriented skills. So, all right, so give us that list one more time. If you're looking for skill haste, you are going to see it on
backpacks and holster.
Okay.
And if you're just looking for straight skill power boost, it's either going to be on your mask or your backpack.
Okay. So mask, backpack, and holster. It would, so don't be looking for it on knee pads or gloves. You won't find it. But those are the pieces of gear that you can actually kind of get to to kind of improve the overall performance of your skills. And again, as we get into each of the individual skills, kind of down the road here, we'll look at the individual stats that that you can roll that are going to impact the effectiveness of each of those separate skills. All right, guys. I think unless anybody has anything else on kind of general skills power, I think we've given this a pretty good treatment on the episode. Anybody else have anything else? You got anything left, Hoagie, on this?
I'm just excited that I get my Tactician's Authority gear in the next month or so.
That's
I have some thoughts of how to maximize that and not be so squishy and be so low on my DPS. So I'm excited for that.
Yeah, let's talk about that really quick. So the Tactician's Authority is the gear set that is definitely more devoted to the skill power. Is anybody running that set? Does anybody have it yet?
I have one piece. I don't remember which one. I got it from the incursion.
I picked up the Nomad from DZ6, and then I got a Striker today. So I haven't gotten it yet. I mean, I'm not running that full skill power build, so that wasn't too much of a priority for me. But it is definitely a pretty sweet perk.
They have two pieces in the Boo right now.
Yeah, the mask and the
214. Yeah.
They have it as blueprints, though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And they're 385 and 331 Phoenix credits.
Yeah, I'm actually going to be buying the knee pad blueprint when I get home tonight, so I'm kind of excited about that.
Yeah, we're all super happy for you, Josh.
Thank you, Mr. T. Thank you.
Yeah,
so happy.
It's funny, and this is the thing. This is the problem with gear sets that we've talked about. I was looking at those pieces, but when I started to look at kind of, the ones that are for sale right now, where they can actually roll in terms of armor. I mean, so I'm already squishy, and where they actually roll in terms of armor was below, on both of those pieces, was substantially below what I'm running right now. And so I don't know if that's just the trade-off piece and all of those are going to run that low, or if it's just because it's for sale. But, if you look at what they roll in terms of armor, I mean, I had what I was wearing was kind of substantially in excess of it. And so I'm still kind of thinking through, do I want to make the trade-off? So the bonuses, we should talk about Tactician's Authority since we're talking about skills. The bonuses there, the set bonus for having two pieces is a plus 4,000 on the skill power, which is nice. I mean, not like, totally game-changing, but that's a nice little boost. And then the set bonus for the 3 is, let's see, what is it? Does anybody have that?
20% skill haste.
Yeah, which is pretty cool. I mean, that's a big number. That 20% is a big number. I don't know what you guys have seen in terms of skill haste on gear, but normally a piece of gear is going to give you somewhere between 7.5 and 9. I think that's what I've seen. So 20 is essentially more than you could get, from having kind of the whole deal. And here's the thing: we just talked about what pieces that can roll on. So if you're really after a skill haste build, the knee pads would be a great item. Gloves would be a great item, because then now you're getting skill haste from an item that doesn't normally roll it, and you're still free to, if you don't have the other two pieces, you're still free to kind of pick up skill haste from your backpack, or Hoagie, I forget what the other one was, whether it was the holster or the mask.
Holster.
Holster.
And also you can roll backpack and holster for your that gear set. You can roll skill haste too. So you can even have the authority stuff on and still be the 214 is between a 10 and 12% skill haste. So if you got just one of those, I mean, you could be rolling in with 27-30% skill haste just from two pieces, either a good backpack and a holster.
Yep.
Which that's crazy.
Yeah, and the set bonus, so if you have 4 other pieces of gear, is pretty interesting. Every 60k of damage your group does adds 1% of skill power for a max of 100% bonus. And the bonus is reduced by what is it?
1%, 1% every second.
Damage. 60,000 damage is nothing in when you're in these high level activities. I mean, 60,000 is, we've got guys. My sniper right now, if I hit a crit headshot with my sniper, I'm getting around 300,000 of damage, which would mean basically a 5% boost to skill power every time I hit a headshot that crits. People that are running submachine guns are running DPS at a really high level. So this is a really, and I guess Hoagie, this is what you were talking about in terms of being able to juice your DPS output.
Yeah. Well, I mean, my thought is that, again, as long as I roll the gear, it's like if I can actually do it and get the gear that I want. I mean, I'm thinking of rolling 4 pieces of Tactician's Authority, and then I could sit if I sit my skill power at 27 or so. 27 above that right now is a freshish 30. I can put that stamina and DPS. And I mean, incursions, people are normally, you're running 300,000. It's like that's 5% of my skill power right there off of one shot. And so it's I'm going to be hitting my skill caps in the first probably 10 to 15 seconds of an incursion and never getting below 95% or 90% skill power boosts through the whole thing.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. No, and I think, I'm going to run a blend as well, and I'm between. I like the sentry that I shoot a lot for headshots, and so I like the sentry's. What is it? The sentry's call.
Yeah, sentry's call.
Where you can get that set bonus, and so I will probably try and run that 20% headshot damage in terms of that set. But again, man, there's a thing right there where you can work these off each other and get in a spot where you're just stacking and stacking and stacking the damage you can do off your skill. So
yeah, again, I'm disappointed with Nomad. I mean, it's the one that you can buy in the DZ right now for pretty decent cost, which is probably because it's trash. All I have is the 100% scavenging, so not great, but it's gear score.
It's good.
Exactly. Yeah. I like numbers. I like high numbers. I know we talk about how it doesn't really matter that much, but I like high numbers.
It matters to me.
It matters to me.
Hey,
leave me alone.
Guys, I think good work on skills this week. It'll be interesting to get into some of the specific skills as we go forward. But Saws, before we hit our bonus round, what's your streaming schedule look like this week?
Streaming schedule gonna look like Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, probably 6 to 8 o'clock Central Time, PM, obviously, in case anybody was really wondering. So PM Central Time, and then it's likely to be Saturday, Sunday, about 9 o'clock AM to 12 o'clock PM Central Time. So gonna have a lot of fun with that. Probably gonna be playing some Division. Hopefully get in an incursion. I might play some Destiny. I said the bad B word.
What is that?
I'm sorry,
what are you talking about?
But yeah, I have friends that are begging me to come over, so I might appease them.
I actually thought about it. I thought about it this week. Just like maybe I'll just check back in.
Yeah, see how it's going. How's
Yeah,
everybody doing?
I thought about playing this.
There you go.
Battlefront. All right.
Yeah, I don't know.
No, nobody's playing that, man.
Hey, Hoagie, being on the show, man. Thanks for bringing the knowledge on the skills, man. It was good to have you.
Yeah, that was awesome, man.
It was awesome being with you guys, and I'll see you in Discord in about 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Real quick,
Let's
before we go, there was a shout out actually on YouTube. There's a shout out to Manning's mom. Somebody wanted to shout out to Manning's mom, so.
Yeah, she's a great lady. She really is.
She's an awesome lady.
Oh God.
Oh jeez.
There has been. Well, never mind. There's no need to. In our clan,
I think everybody can see where this is going.
There's been
we get it, man.
Mom jokes, and particularly around Mr. T's mom. So If you'd like to,
we didn't have to. God,
if you'd like
stay
to
with
mail
my mom, man.
Pity the fool.
to Mr.
Make fun of my mama.
It's dzrmailbag@gmail.com. No, just kidding. Guys, good show. Let's do this really quick, though. We did have, I know, Mr. T, you mentioned it earlier. Let's do a quick bonus round. Mr. T, as you know, it was funny. I actually thought about as a community whether we should all rock purple for the week in honor of the passing of Prince. But you mentioned Prince earlier. Give us your top 3 Prince songs, Mr. T. Let's.
That he performed. So I'm the elder statesman of the JUI DZR clan. I grew up, like Prince. When I grew up, Prince was a huge deal, right? I mean, if you want songs he wrote, you got to go Doves Cried, Purple Rain, and Nothing Compares to You. I mean, that song is incredible. Yeah, I don't know, man. Performance-wise, though, you got to go to the '07 Super Bowl halftime. I mean, he did his songs. He did, other top 40 songs. The man was a whiz on the guitar. I mean, level of Jimi Hendrix. There's this great quote. Eric Clapton's being interviewed, and they're like, "So what's it like being the greatest living guitarist?" And he's like, "I don't know. You should go ask Prince." That's how a lot of people don't think of him, but if like he's a pop artist, you don't think of him as this guitar whiz. But if you watch some of his performances, some of his live stuff, which is hard to see because he was kind of I don't want to talk ill about the dead, but the man was kind of a dick when it came to, having his stuff out on YouTube and stuff like that. He would put that on lockdown. But if you can see his live stuff, it was like an extension of his body, man, the way he worked that thing. He's a legend, and he passed way too soon, man.
I read a hilarious story about Prince. I think it was on ESPN or something this past week. And I guess, what's that guy's first name? Is it Carlos Boozer? He's an NBA player, so he plays professional basketball. And he had this mansion, and he rented it to Prince. And, so apparently this mansion had, like, flowing streams of water down to the front door and all this kind of crazy, very lavish and luxurious. And he rented to Prince. Yeah, Prince will be a good tenant. And he drove by within a couple of weeks, and he said he didn't recognize the house. Prince had put his sign on the front gate. The water coming down it was purple now. And and then in the house he had like transformed the master bedroom into a hair salon and like knocked walls out. This is a rental, right? Prince rolls in and is like, "Hi," like starts knocking down walls and everything.
This Flanagan wall, knock down that Flanagan wall.
and the purple water was just. But in any case, and Boozer was so mad. He was like, "I am gonna beat that little man," right? And then Prince came up to him and was like, "Hey man, here's a check for $1 million. This should cover fixing it back to when I leave." And then Boozer was like, "That little man is cool, Come
back anytime."
Yeah, and supposedly, after the fact, he was like, "I don't want to talk about all the modifications because Prince had a lifestyle, he had some preferences, but he said like the place was totally fixed back to how it was before he got there." So, a couple anecdotes for Prince, and certainly always tough when when we lose a musician of his level and quality and a luminary in the entertainment industry. So,
and within 6 months of David Bowie, man, something end times or something going on right now, man. This isn't right.
Yeah. So if you're a great musician, get your will in order. I guess I don't know. That was wrong. I should.
Hey, Mr. T, I see that guitar in the background.
Yeah, why don't you play it? You want to give us a little rendition? You got to
hang on 1 second here.
Oh, here we go.
Here we go. Coming.
Oh,
my story is that I know nothing about Prince because I'm 25 and. The extent of Prince that I know is my mom had the CD. That's about it.
All right, so for the first time ever, making his world debut, this is Mr. T on the ukulele.
you very much.
That was beautiful, man.
Wrote a song about it. Want to hear it? Here it goes. Ah, ha, ha. Thank you very much. Did I get that reference?
On that note,
Is that too old?
yeah, okay. That's enough. Put the uke down. There you go. Beautiful. Thank you, Mr. T. And hey, listen, all the listeners, we love that you guys listen to the show, so enthusiastic, and share it with your friends and rate it on iTunes and all the things you guys do to let us know that you enjoy the show. We certainly appreciate it. We love doing it, and we're glad that you like listening. If you want to get in touch with us, you want to contribute to the show, dzrmailbag@gmail.com. You can get us on Twitter @DarkZoneReport. And really, join the Discord. If you haven't done it yet, if you figure, I don't want to jump in there, whatever, join it. It is a lot of fun.
Let us see your skill bills.
Yeah, I would like to see your skill builds.
Yeah.
There it is. Guys, thanks again. Great show. And, yeah.
See us again next week.
Yeah, we'll do it again next week. That'd be great. So, from all of us here at DZR, thanks for listening. Be safe. And we will see you in the Dark Zone. Good show, guys.
Yeah, not bad.
Yeah.
Man. Josh, good job, man.
That was a blast.
Very good,
All of
very
this.
good information, man.
All of the numbers, man.
You can come
I
back.
literally spend like 2 hours a day doing this at my desk. I'm a terrible worker.
Well, you're more than welcome back here, man, because you did a kick-ass job tonight.
Yeah, that was
Hey,
sweet.
so you guys can drag me through the incursion in about a week and a half.
Okay.
Get
You're
myself.
putting a hell of a lot of responsibility, but sure.
All right, fellas. Let's see who's on, Mr. T. Sauce. Good to see you, brother.
Yeah,
Yeah.
good to see you. I'll catch you next time. I'm gonna head out, go to bed.
All right, brother. Take care, man.
Yeah, you two, you all should get some sleep too. You're an hour ahead of me.
That's not happening.
I have dailies to do.
We have incursions.
I have dailies to do. I can't go to bed.
Hey, I ran through dailies in about 25 minutes last night, yesterday.